All right, we're going to do a quick video. We are going to recap the wildest trade season that I can remember. I mean, the trades were so crazy. One team executive we'll talk about later got death threats. So that's what the trade season was. And you know, when the new salary cap and the dual apron that came out, teams on the first apron were limited in what they could do. So think of it as a first tax threshold. And then there's a second apron where you can't do anything. They even freeze draft picks. And I think there's only 7 teams in the first or second apron. The Knicks are one of them. I think the Suns are going to owe like $500 million. The Suns are terrible. Matt Ishbia is a moron. He needs to do what Dolan did and give up his ego and allow the basketball operations team to do what they got to do. But I digress. We'll go on. I think there's 7 different teams. Maybe we'll look at it at some point to see what those teams are. But anyway, so yeah, so it has been a flurry. We're going to go quickly because I don't want this video to be 45 minutes long. I know everybody has the attention span of a gnat. So let's start here with the Warriors and the Nets. December 15, Dennis Schroeder, coming from the Nets, was having a great year with the Nets. They were above expectations. And this is the first of many stops for Dennis Schroeder. He went to the Warriors, and this was supposed to be they made this trade so that they could take off the pressure of Steph Curry having to be the only ball handler and allowed him to come in as the lead guard when Steph Curry was down. It did not work out. Lakers trading trading for Finney Smith, Shake Milton, and trading out D'Angelo Russell. The second, or what is this, the third time that D'Angelo Russell has been traded by the Lakers. He is having more fun in Brooklyn. He is free and easy. He is letting it rip, and I think, you know, that's how he was an all-star in Brooklyn. I don't think he'll be an all-star anytime soon, but the Lakers wanted a wing depth, so they got Dorian Finney-Smith, who can hit the three, could play defense. Shake Milton was an afterthought, but they ended up using him a little bit more than they figured, I guess, because when you're limited and you make a bunch of 3-for-1, 2-for-1 type trades, you end up losing a lot of your depth. And Shake Milton, although not a great player, is serviceable in a pinch, 5-minute spurt, something like that. Suns acquire Nick Richards from the Hornets. The Hornets have been spectacular in their trades over the last year or so. I don't even know who their GM is, but they are doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. They're kind of becoming like OKC in the East. They are accumulating a lot of draft picks, a lot of second-round picks. Second-round picks are like currency. They're not going to all convey. But Nick Richards was not going to be retained by the Hornets, or it was going to be an overpay. And he's played well in his limited spurts. He's more of a backup, but they're using him as a starter. But he's played really well as a starter on a very disappointing Suns team. And the Suns needed to do something. Okogie is not really doing it. They gave up 3 second-round picks. And again, the Suns, with Matt Ishbia, are just burning through draft picks, burning through what they have. And, you know, it's just not looking good. This was an interesting one. This was another bad trade. The Suns traded a very, very valuable 2031 unprotected first-round pick that they had. I think one of the few commodities that they had, and they traded that for 3. I guess these are like just picks of picks in a way. They have so many, so they're gonna get the least favorable between all these teams and themselves. I mean, and all these 3 teams. So they'll get the worst trade in 2025 from Cleveland, Minnesota, Utah. So, I mean, Cleveland is going to be really good. So they'll probably end up getting Cleveland's pick. Minnesota, Utah won't convey. Minnesota, Utah probably won't convey either unless Minnesota makes a trade. But these are terrible trades. They, I think, made this trade with the idea of trying to use this as capital. But you don't make this trade unless you have that other trade in the corner pocket. Why make this trade now? I know Utah was probably saying, hey, if you don't do this trade now, we're going to move on to something else. You should have ignored that threat. The Suns, look how many terrible trades they've made in a row. Terrible. The Clippers trading PJ Tucker, who was not playing, was not on the team, was mad about not being in the rotation. He doesn't seem to believe in age, and as you age, you get worse. But anyway, they received Mo Bamba and PJ Tucker and a second-round pick, and that's what the Jazz do. They take salaries that are going to be for 1 year, they absorb them, or maybe one more extra year, and you compensate them with draft picks. They work as a middleman, like a mob middleman, And you're gonna see a lot of these trades with the Jazz. It's just give me a draft pick. We'll take, they're not gonna take a Bradley Beal type unless you're giving them like 3 first-round picks. But they'll take whatever garbage you have and help facilitate trades. And if it wasn't for teams like the Jazz, a lot of these bigger trades would not happen. Now this is the big one. This is the big one. This is the one that we talked about that caused a death threat. Luka Doncic traded in the middle of the night. This is a first ballot Hall of Famer already. He don't have to play another game in his life. He's already led the Mavs to one championship game last year. They did not win. All of a sudden they started calling him fat and out of shape, and that's not what they wanted from a team perspective. The fans have boycotted. They brought a coffin in front of the Dallas arena. The GM Nico, is it Nico what? Nico Harris? I think it's Nico Harris. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Nico, let's just say Nico, a former Nike exec, Kobe's right hand at Nike, just made an awful trade. He was arrogant about it in the press conference. I don't know. He said we do what we want to do, and he also said, the head coach is going to go along with whatever we do. I don't have the exact quotes, but that was the air. It was very arrogant. He said I pitched it to the owner. The owner said what? Was confused. Mark Cuban is not in charge. Mark Cuban would have not made this trade. Anybody with 3 brain cells in their head would have not made this trade, and especially not to one specific team. So they didn't announce this trade through back channels to see what they could get for Luka, because I honestly think they could have gotten Giannis. They could have gotten Bam Adebayo. They could have gotten almost any player they wanted in the NBA. Why they wanted 32-year-old Anthony Davis with a bevy of injury history and issues, I have no idea. It is a championship or death, and I'm not saying that lightly. Nico Harris, it has to be his name because it keeps popping in my head, will not be in his normal seats for a while. They are bumping up security for the first Dallas home game. The home team may get booed for a trade that their GM made. Let's just put it. The home team may get booed for the trade that their GM made. And, I said this in one of my chats. I said, this guy needs to update his will as soon as I heard this, because you heard the fervor and the online, vitriol and everything else that was going on. Oh, sorry, that's a little bit more centered, whatever. So, yeah, but I think in taking a week, it's been 7 days, give or take, about this trade, and the Utah Jazz have already released Hood Schifino. They got 2 second-round picks, more currency. So the Jazz are setting themselves up for being able to be players later on. But Max Christie, I saw him play, and he played really good defense against Tatum and Brown. I can see why the Lakers were hesitant in trading him. Anthony Davis, and they got one of the Lakers' first-round picks, which is worth nothing now because Luka is only 25. So in 4 years, he'll be 29. So that's going to be, unless he's injured, that's going to be probably like the 24th or 25th pick, which to me is just asinine that has no value anymore. He only traded with the Lakers because he has an outstanding relationship with Rob Pelinka. They both were at Nike. Well, no. Rob Pelinka was an agent for Kobe, and Nico Harris was the Nike rep. So that's how they knew each other. They worked on this trade for 30 days, and this is the best they got out of it. Luka, Kleba, and Morris are irrelevant. They're salary filler, but just an awful trade. You never trade away the best player unless you are at gunpoint. He wanted to re-sign with that Supermax. Apparently, the Mavs did not want to be stuck with the Supermax and figured that Luka was going to be injured all the time. So maybe this is a wake-up call, but they unlocked the monster. And now this is where the conspiracy theorists come in and say that the NBA facilitated this trade to allow for better ratings. And guess what? Nobody's talking about the Super Bowl. Everybody's talking about these trades. So I guess they won with that. And now you have Lakers relevant for the next 10 years, provided that they can re-sign Luka, which they should be able to. But now, who knows what's going to happen. But they're very interesting. Luka and LeBron on the same team should be interesting. They did not trade Austin Reeves, which was kind of surprising because now you have LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reeves, who are all ball handlers. 2 of them are going to be shooters mostly or drivers. So we'll see how that works. This was a kind of quasi-big one. De'Aaron Fox said that he wanted out. earlier, or that he was hinting at it. The team apparently went to him and said that we would like to try to find a trade to accommodate you. That was a PR spin. De'Aaron Fox wanted out, but he just didn't want to get booed about it, or his agent didn't want him to look as it was negative. That was very nice of the Kings to take it on the chin there with that press release. They got Zach LaVine, who's played really well this year. He's been injury prone his whole career. This is the first year he's played quite a bit. But this is the important part with the Kings. All those draft picks, those are great draft picks. They got the 2025 first pick from the Hornets, 27 first round pick from the Spurs. I mean, Wemby is long and tall. He could get injured, and that's unprotected. So it's unfortunate, but they got to hope that he gets injured that year. And they got the 2031 first round pick from the Timberwolves, which is so far down the line. We don't know what that's going to be worth. And then 3 second round picks, as you see there, with LaVine, which allows them to stay competitive in their minds, because they're not going anywhere. They're a first round out. They might not even make the play-in as presently constructed. And then now you have the Spurs with De'Aaron Fox, who does a nice 1-2 punch with Wemby. He is the fastest player with the ball in the NBA. I mean, that's not been measured. I'm sure there's somebody in the G League faster or something, but typically most people say the person that plays the fastest is De'Aaron Fox. I like the pairing. I like Chris Paul still starting, because it allows De'Aaron to learn on the fly and let him work off the ball. CP will tell him where to go, at least for this year. I'm sure they're not going to re-sign CP for next year, or I doubt it. But this is a good pairing, and the Spurs have just a stunning five. Vassell, Stephen Castle, they just have studs everywhere. So the Spurs, although not a championship team this year, look for them in the next 2 to 3 years to be up there and to be really relevant. See them fighting the Lakers for the championship. I really like what the Spurs did in the trade season. This one is just swapping picks, relevant. This one was interesting. They traded Martin, who they ended up getting another second round pick. So this is incorrect, because they got Quentin Grimes, but they needed another second round pick because apparently Caleb Martin had an undisclosed injury. He's going to be out for another month. On top of it, they felt with Max Christie that Quentin Grimes became expendable, which was kind of surprising because Quentin Grimes is playing well. But it's unfortunate. Quentin Grimes, after complaining to Thibodeau that I'm not getting enough time, I'm a starter, there's too much pressure on me, blah, blah, blah. They moved him to Detroit. Detroit moved him to Dallas, and now Dallas traded him to Philly. Sometimes, especially at a young age, you got to just shut up and just play defense, hit the open shot, and talk less. Unless you're a Luka, a LeBron, and KD, you have no cachet. Just keep your mouth shut and play. And so now Grimes has been bounced around a little bit. He's a good 3-and-D young player. He can play off the dribble, he can catch and shoot, and he can play defense, and he's been relatively healthy this year. So it's unfortunate. I mean, Josh Hart bounced around a lot until he found a home. So maybe this is the situation with Grimes, that he'll bounce around a little bit until he finds a home. Daniel Theus, this is an injury insurance center. They're going for it this year. Chet has been injured all year. Hartenstein has been in and out of the lineup. They need a third center. They cannot have an issue where they're both out in terms of Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren. I don't think Theus is going to play much unless somebody's injured. He's a good big. He can stretch the floor. He's a good rim runner. So we'll see how it goes. I think he's also on the German team with Hartenstein, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But it's a good insurance policy for the Thunder. This is really the only trade that they made, and I think it's a really good one. And again, you can see the writing on the wall that they are going for a championship right now, and this is proof of it. Jonas Valanciunas, this was another, the Kings just want to show that they're invested and that they are going for it. They don't want to do a rebuild for whatever reason. They want to keep pushing forward. Valanciunas gives them an option, obviously against the Joker and other teams that play big. But again, I don't see the Kings doing anything. Levine, DeRozan, Malik Monk, Domantas Sabonis, it doesn't seem like a championship team. They don't have the defense for it. They're oddly structured. I mean, Malik Monk should probably come off the bench, and maybe you start Jonas Valanciunas or somebody else. But the Kings at this point are just a play-in team, but they're just saving face. This is irrelevant move. They're getting Springer and they're trading second round picks. Springer to the Rockets does not move the needle for either team. Reggie Jackson has already been waived. This trade also is mainly just to trade picks, and yeah, it's irrelevant. Cody Zeller was traded for Alpha Kaba. I don't know who either one is. Cody Zeller looks like insurance in the West as well. This is a 3 points a game scorer type player. Maybe he'll get you 5 rebounds. He can take up 5-6 fouls, hack the bigger guy. Not really relevant. It looks like he's going to be the same thing in insurance, big man. Wiseman has already been released. This was more a salary dump, and the Pacers getting a second round pick. Cash considerations probably paid for Wiseman's salary. KJ Martin was pulled out of the game 5 minutes before the game started. He was not really playing with the Sixers. This is another salary dump, and he is going to the Pistons, and the Pistons got paid with 2 second-round picks. Yusuf Nurkic was finally dumped by the Suns. He has been the scapegoat. He has played terrible. He was in the starting lineup for all of last year and half of this year, and they had to blame somebody, so they blamed him, and then they shipped him out to the Hornets, who again they're just piling up picks. They got a first round 2026 pick from the Suns. The Suns are just absolute garbage. Looking at all these trades, the Suns are setting fire to their franchise, and they better hope that the Rockets entertain them for Kevin Durant and they get all their picks back and they get some of those young players that the Rockets have. And I think that's the only way you salvage it. But KD is going to be gone, and more than likely, I feel he's going to go to Houston. Cody Martin, he's the twin brother of the other Martin, so brothers were traded on the same day. Micic is a good point guard. He's a European, can handle the ball, but I don't know what he brings other than a backup point guard role. Oh wow, another Martin trade. So he got traded twice within a few days, or if not the same day. Dennis Schroeder. This is the second time he's been traded. Goes from the Jazz to the Warriors. Lindy Waters, irrelevant. This was just a dump so that the Jazz can get their pick. And the Pistons get a very serviceable Dennis Schroeder, who can play backup. The Pistons look like they are a top 8 team in the Eastern Conference. I think they're a first run out, but stranger things have happened. Raptors land PJ Tucker. He has been passed around like an entree or an appetizer, whatever. He was traded to the Raptors with a second round pick, and the Heat get Davion Mitchell. This guy fits in Heat culture. He's going to be a tough, he was considered a very lockdown defender in college. It has not worked that way in the NBA. The NBA is a different animal. So he has become kind of an irrelevant player who's been passed around from the Kings to the Raptors and now the Heat. But I think he may be able to find a home in the Heat. He plays really hard defense. He can hit the open three. He cannot pass. He cannot rebound, and he's undersized. But, that Heat culture thing. Bucks getting Kevin Porter Jr. This was surprising. I don't know why the Clippers traded him. Marjon Beauchamp, I think in one of the Pro-Am games, scored something like 70, 80 points. So there's skill there. I mean, I don't know what the Clippers are seeing. I don't know what the Bucks are seeing. I don't know. I don't know. It seems like it is irrelevant, traded for irrelevant. I don't know. This was surprising as well, or not from the Bogdan Bogdanovic point of view, because he was on the trade market for quite a while. But I was shocked that Terrence Mann was traded. Apparently he's been out of the rotation or just not been playing that much. I'm assuming that this is the agents that are involved in trying to find him a new home. He's going to get touches in the Hawks. I really liked him as a 3-and-D guy. He's not the best passer. He has a really good attitude and he plays hard. Bones Highland has already been released, and the Hawks also get 3 second-round picks. So the Clippers are going to be able to spread the floor. You cannot pack the paint with Kawhi and with James Harden, with Bogdan out there. He's a knockdown shooter from Serbia. I thought he was going to go to the Nuggets. I guess not. So the Clippers have him, and so it should be interesting. I'm really surprised Terrence Mann fell out of favor. I don't know what happened there. Bones Highland has been in the doghouse since he left the Nuggets. He was another one that had an attitude like Quentin Grimes with the Nuggets because he wasn't getting enough touches. It's like you have to understand you have to play a role when you come in the NBA. Just because you're hot shit in the college or overseas doesn't mean anything. There's a lot of politics. Sneaker companies rule. I mean, there's just so many things that you have to consider. If you keep your mouth shut, you cheer when the team is there, whether you're playing or not, and you play hard defense, you have a shot. Bones Highland, his ego got too big, and now he's looking for a job. This was a strange one. Kyle Kuzma, they get Kyle Kuzma from the Wizards, which they were going after for the last few weeks, so that was not surprising. Jericho Sims, former Knick, he is a rim runner. He is a rebounder. He is terrified of shooting the ball. He should develop a floater. He's been there 4 years, and he could not develop a little floater. Even when Hartenstein was there, I would have stolen that. But yeah, he barely shoots. Jericho Sims can guard perimeter players. You do not have to, you can double with him. You can have him on switches, so he's gonna be very interesting. I'm assuming that he's going to be a backup. Well, I know he's gonna be a backup. I don't think he's gonna supplant Brook Lopez, but I would rather have him than Brook Lopez with quicker teams, because again, they can switch everything with him, and Jericho can guard point guards. He has really good footwork, good rebounding. He was number 1 in the beginning of the year in defensive percentage in the paint. So he's a very good defensive player. They also get 2 second-round picks. Chris Middleton is washed. He has been injured, I want to say, the last 5 years. So he has been sent to Siberia, which is the Washington Wizards, where he will live out the rest of his NBA career. I don't see him being anything other than like a 12th man moving forward. It's unfortunate. The Knicks get DeLon Wright. He will not play unless 7 injuries happen ahead of him. He is a clapper and a cheerleader, but he's a Tibbs guy. He plays defense, so he's going to be great in practice. He's going to rotate. He's going to get in people's face. He played with Jalen Brunson, who loved him. So Patrick Baldwin Jr., I don't know. He was good in college, and you thought Golden State found a gem in the rough. However, it is not translated to the pros. This was a late night surprise. Mark Williams was not on the block. He shrinks the floor. He has the longest standing reach in the NBA, even more than Wemby, 9'9". He does not have to jump the dunk, which is insane. Dalton Connect was shocking. I thought he was going to be with the Lakers for a while, but the Lakers always do this, whether it's Julius Randle, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram. The only one that they've waited for is Austin Reeves in terms of development as a young player. They are similar to what the Knicks were and kind of still are, is that they don't let you develop under the bright lights. Go develop somewhere else, and if you get good, we'll trade back for you, or we'll give you a lot of money if we have cap space. But they do not like to train people, so Dalton Connect is out the door. There was rumblings that like he wouldn't pass the ball to Bronny James or something. I don't know, but that's all BS. Dalton Connect is a 4-year college player. He is a nice size. He's going to play well in Charlotte. Charlotte got a Godfather offer here. They got 2 potential picks back-to-back from the Lakers. I mean, now with Luka there, these picks may not amount to anything if Luka resigns, but an unprotected 2031 and a pick swap in 2030 is major. The Hornets have acquired quite a haul. And again, I feel like they're the antithesis, if I said that right, the opposite of the Phoenix Suns, who have just been terrible with managing their draft picks. The Hornets have been the opposite. They have been amazing. Every deal that the Hornets have done has been great. And kudos to whoever their GM is. DeAndre Hunter, this is terrifying. We're going to do a tiers video, but in that tiers video, I will admit that the Cavs are now a championship contender because of DeAndre Hunter. He is a big wing. He is a knockdown. He's like a cyborg at the three-point line. If he's open, it's going in. He's not been as great defensively as he has been in previous years, but I think under the right situation, it will motivate him. They got him for LeVert and Niang, who are 2 team guys. And again, you got to be careful with these trades because look at the Suns. They have all the talent in the world. They have no team chemistry, and it's affecting them. So watch out. DeAndre Hunter is really good. I like him a lot. And I think the Cavs are right there with the Celtics now. They have bumped into a different tier. They are not to be trifled with. They are going to be really good with Hunter. They're good now, but I thought as a regular season team, I thought they were going to flame out in the playoffs. I think they're going to make the conference finals. I could almost guarantee they're going to make the conference finals. Here we have the Jimmy Butler trade. We made a video already on 2K about Jimmy Butler. Oh my God, this video is running long. Let's try to talk fast. Oh my God, there's so many trades. Jimmy Butler goes out of the Heat. Apparently Pat Riley cried in the meeting about his father and Jimmy's father passing last year. And Jimmy said, "You're nuts. I got to get out of here still." The bridges were burned. Pat Riley went too hard at him, and you know, these players nowadays are kind of, you know, mentally soft with stuff like that. They don't like criticism, especially in the public and the media. So once they tainted it, it soured the relationship and they're done. I don't know how he's gonna fit in Golden State. Jimmy is a one-on-one Eastern Conference rugged type player. The Warriors don't hold the ball for more than a second, so maybe Jimmy will be more of a catch and shoot early in the shot clock. And when the shot clock goes down, they will give him a one-on-one ISO and let him go to work. I think that's the only way it works. I just don't see how it's going to work. Andrew Wiggins was a big blue guy, did not talk, did not complain. 3-and-D, a nice size, 6'7", 6'8", really athletic, could get to the rim. Without him, they don't win that championship in 2022. They got Slow-Mo, who is moving again, Kyle Anderson. He may get bought out. I'm not sure if he's going to stay with the Warriors. And again, we saw the Davion Mitchell part of it before he gets there. So they get 3 really good defensive rotational pieces. So I really like this for the Heat a lot. The Jazz are facilitators again. This is probably like the 4th time that they are facilitating. Josh Richards, KJ Martin, a few draft picks. I think Josh Richardson and KJ are probably going to get released if they've not been already. Pistons get Dennis Schroeder, as we spoke of before. Lindy Waters is there. And then PJ Tucker goes to the Raptors. So all in all, the Pistons, the Jazz do what they do. They're the same exact role. They'll take players, but they want draft picks. Dennis Schroeder will play for the Pistons, so it should be interesting. This one was weird and surprising. Brandon Ingram. I mean, it's surprising in the sense of the destination, not that he was going to get traded. They didn't want to pay him a max contract, and I agree. They've not won anything, so why am I going to give you a max contract when I have Zion already, and I don't know what I'm going to do with Zion? I guess it makes sense. There is a potential that Bruce Brown is going to re-sign. I think he fits with New Orleans. He's team first. You could start him. You could put him off the bench. He doesn't. I mean, like, he just does what the team needs. Kelly Olynyk can spread the floor and is a nice big as a 5 that can spread the floor. So that should be really good. They got a 1st-round pick and a 2nd-round pick. So the Pelicans made out really, really well because they've been trying to trade him for a year. And it looks like the Raptors, Majai Ujiri is going to pay him. So it's going to be very interesting. RJ is going to go to the 2. Quick will go to the 1. Brandon Ingram will go to the 3. Scotty at the 4. And I forgot the name of the center, but whatever. The former Spur will be the 5. So they have a good starting 5. They got to build out their bench. But I think this year is lost already. But I think next year they should be a play-in to playoff type team. This was a salary dump. Marcus Smart goes to the Wizards, goes to Siberia. He will get bought out if he hasn't been already. Kobe Jones, Alex Lenz will get bought out probably or released. Marvin Bagley goes to the Grizzlies. What a bust. He was in the same draft as Luka. He was ahead of Luka. Number 2, terrible choice by the Kings. Blame Vlade Divac because of his 15. Johnny Davis, surprising. I mean, I remember watching him on the draft board and I wanted him for the Knicks. And he has been a bust. So he's going to the Grizzlies. Maybe they can rehabilitate both of these busts, but we'll see. Oh, that's crazy. They get 2 second-round picks and 2 draft busts. And the Kings get Jake LaRavia, which I liked. He was really good with the Grizzlies. I really enjoyed watching him play. So it should be interesting. It doesn't seem to move the needle for any of the 3 teams, but we'll see if somebody got a gem here. And that is it. Those are all the trades. We got to end the video there because this video, for me to announce all these trades, took 30 minutes. So we're going to see what happens. We're excited. We'll do a few more videos on different things, but that is it for now. Let me know what you think about the trades in the comments. And like I said, I've been watching the NBA over 30 years. This that I can remember, I've never seen this many trades and no all NBA players have ever been traded for each other midseason. I think that's the correct thing between Luka and Anthony Davis. So that was history made. A 25-year-old with 5 first all NBA team selections. You know what that is? Like, there's only 4 other players in the NBA with 5. and they're all in their 30s, or LeBron in his 40s. Like that like maybe James Harden or something. Like that's how crazy that trade is. Absolutely insane. Anyway, I will see you on the next one.